Hello, friends. My name is host Eric, and I am the host talking with famous people. And I am here today. Blessed am I with the two different kinds of TI DOMs. We've got in the upper right hand corner, moving vertically down the football field on offense. We've got the INTP Susanna. She's bringing her TI, her don't care attitude, and her occasional flash of brilliance. In the bottom left hand corner, we've got ISTP, his basement overlord. And what's he bringing? The handle that poor Susanna has in her seventh slot, namely that SE action. So let's draw a contrast between them. First, let me just simply quickly articulate the different cognitive function stacks. So INTP goes TINESI Just like INTP, Basement Overlord, the ISTP, has TI first and FE fourth. So both of you guys, according to conventional wisdom, are going to be not super socially graceful, but in practice, in my experience, both ISTPs and INTPs are probably more socially graceful than ENTPs, who are, if
Yeah, I
nothing
agree with
else,
that.
way too much. Anyway, the the difference then lies in the middle two, whereas Basement Overlord follows up his TI with SE. Susanne here only follows it up with NE. So he takes metaphysical action, she takes metaphysical action, and then after that, of course, Basement Overlord has the NI in the third slot. His what do you call it? Hidden agenda is going to be finding singular truths, whereas Susanna's hidden agenda is going to be a coherent identity through time. So I'm going to ask each of you now specific questions to see if my description in general seems to ring true to you guys specifically. Let's start in the upper corner with Susanna. Susanna, tell me what it's like having NE as a creative function. We know that Basement Overlord does shit with what he thinks about. What do you do with shit you think
There
about?
we go.
I think about things and I have many ideas, but what I do with it, it's something else. And often that something else is nothing.
What do you think
What
about
we're
it?
thinking. What we're
What kind
thinking.
of thoughts do you have about it, though? It's like, are you thinking, well, I could do this or I could do this? Or are you thinking, well, this aspect of it could go wrong and that aspect of it could go wrong? Which way?
Now I think it's more like what I could do.
What you
And it
could do?
just, yeah.
Do you feel that you don't like to commit to something unless you're pretty damn sure that it's really worth your time and energy?
Yes.
Okay. Basement Overlord, you don't have any in the second slot. You've got Essie.
hmm
So, at least according to the model, you shouldn't really have so much trouble getting shit handled. Do you find that to be your experience?
I would say that the priority is to actually do stuff with the TI that I think of. Like it's like about like thinking of like ways I can live my life, like logical ways I can live my life, and then like okay, how can I actually use this in my life as opposed to just trying to abstract it more generally? It's making it more specific to just me, you know, thinking
So,
like principle.
for example, like let's say you get a math book in math class.
Huh.
Are you saying you're going to find a way to use it to brush your teeth?
That's probably lower down my list of the ways I'm going to use a math book. I mean, maybe in a tight situation, if that's the only thing I can use to brush my teeth, but that's definitely not something I think of often.
Well, it may be the only thing you can use, but I got some bad news for you. This particular
Mhm.
math book is made entirely of rusting shards of stabbing iron, so you wouldn't really want to use it as a toothbrush. But in contrast to Susanna's third slot SI, you've got third slot NI. I have a good sense of what FE in the third slot feels like. It feels like I want you guys to like me. That's my primary concern. Now, I have a good idea of what SI in the third slot feels like too, because not what it feels like, but how it manifests. Because I've known a lot of INTPs, and I know now pretty well an INFP, and I see it. I know what it is. But I explain NI in the third slot to me. How do you think that manifests as like a hidden agenda?
Uh, well, like I think for me, it ties into just really low expert intuition. So like I want to have everything locked down in the future. I don't want any ambiguity in my future. Like that's like any type stuff. So like it's just like a lot of times I sit down and think, okay, what's going to happen like tomorrow, or what's going to happen like 3 years. And so like sometimes I just spend like the night before just planning my entire day, exactly what I'm going to do, throughout the day, just because I'm trying to eliminate uncertainty by using NI to like predict what I'm going to do in the future. But it's not as graceful as like an INTJ who just sort of knows what's going to happen, I guess. I have to like sit down and like think about it, I guess.
Well, I wonder if that thing you're describing is you want finalized singular truths. Reality is such that it's like you've got 6 different bugs, and you put them on a line, and they start walking. They're all walking in that direction.
Six,
NI
okay.
wants to extrapolate out where they're going to be a day from now. And
Yeah.
NI in the 5th slot, where Susanna has it, 6th slot, where Susanna has it, she's fairly effective at it. So she can actually, to some extent, go, all right, well, if I make this one move at this time, scoping out through time what's going to happen, I can tell it'll have that impact. But the thing is, with NI in the 3rd slot, where it's conscious, or consciously valued as opposed to not valued, what's going to frustrate the shit out of you probably is the way that reality is is like 6 bugs walking from a line. You can extrapolate from their current direction and rate of speed where they're going to be and when they're going to be there. Except they won't keep going that same direction and same rate of speed.
Yeah.
And so shit's going to change. You're going to be like, but I projected all this shit out yesterday. Which is why
Yeah.
I favor the ENTP's style, which is, well, I have no fucking idea what's going to happen. Ever.
Yeah. Yeah. My style is more like, okay, right now I'm looking at the bug, it's going that way. All right, let's take some action to like facilitate it. So like I build like a little like ramp or whatever I need to like have it go that way. And then it starts to walk like away from the ramp. I'm like, what are you doing? Okay, you're going that way. So I move the ramp over. I'm just constantly like moving this ramp using my SE energy, like move the ramp, and it just keeps moving. I'm just like, stop moving. That's what happens.
That's the example of polar and E. It's like
Yeah.
Patrick never thinks maybe I should just follow the bugs. He builds all these
Yeah.
little walls and digs these little troughs and puts moats around
Exactly.
shit. It's like,
I
you
build
know
I
what? Why
build
am I
the
lining up these
perfect.
bugs anyway? I think I'm just gonna step on them instead.
Yeah, it's like I don't have the any to be like, okay, there is a chance that it's going this way right now, but it could change directions. There is that chance. So let me build 2 ramps. No, I'm just like, all right, let's build the best freaking ramp possible for when it goes that way, and then it goes the other way, and I'm screwed.
Yeah, well, but the thing is, you'll learn from that. Next time, you'll build a ramp with walls on the side of it.
Yeah, yeah. Or like I'll build like some like just a track for it to go on or whatever. Like if it bumps into the track, it'll go towards the ramp.
Or you just tie the bugs to a rock and throw it over there.
Usually what will happen is I build the ramp first and then I force the bugs to go on the ramp I already built. I don't move the ramp. I'm like, okay, it's not going towards the ramp. Let me put another like little barrier here so that it has to go to the ramp.
That makes sense because any really it's not so much exactly about possibilities, although it kind of is, but it's really improvisation, comfort with
Yeah,
making shit up on the fly, and comfort not knowing what you're doing, and be
yeah,
more comfortable not knowing what you're doing than if you do know what you're doing, in which case you feel all artificial and stilted. But okay, Susanna, so you've heard him describe how he tackles this bug issue, right? He goes with his first notion, which is somehow or another I'm going to solve this problem with a ramp. Okay, no matter what else happens, there's a ramp involved, and those fucking bugs are going on that ramp. Well,
going on the
have you
ramp.
thought of some
Okay.
other ways of possibly getting the bugs over there? We're talking ramps, Eric. I don't want to change something from ramps. It's all about ramps. All right, so you walk me through how your cognition about the bug issue would be different than his.
Okay, I have bugs and a ramp, and they're
You
supposed
don't
to go
have a
over.
ramp. You do not have a ramp. You don't get to keep Basement Overlord's ramp. You have to make your own ramp.
I patented it. I put a copyright on it. It's my idea.
Okay,
All
in
you have is
regards
6
to
bugs. Let me describe it so we're clear. You have 6 bugs on a flat surface that's wide and long. And you say, okay, bugs, go. And you let them go, and they start walking, okay? And your job is to deal with the fact that you need to somehow be where the bugs are later, right?
Yeah.
So you can do the extrapolation. You've done the extrapolation. There's a math professor there or a physics professor who's done all the calculation points. Say, okay, well, based on this current data I have here, they'll be there, there in one day. But you know that that's not going to be very accurate. It could be completely wrong. It's just as good as a random guess, basically. So how are you going to solve this problem? You're going to need to come back in a day and figure out where the bugs are and find them all.
Can I take them with me and just bring them?
That's fine. Yes, you can take them with you. That'd be
Making
a good
the rules,
solution.
like-
Uh-oh, they're black widows. How are you going to carry them?
In a box?
In a book? You're
something.
going to smash them.
Box.
Oh, box?
No, it's just box, yes.
Oh, box.
So I can carry them.
You little deaf, Eric.
Mm-hmm. It's my old
Like they're-
age.
They're on the ramp or whatever, and I just take the box, put it over, and shove something under, and then I can carry them with me.
Okay, good. Now, let's see about your Fs. You both have FE in the 4th slot, and you guys do display an equivalent kind of reticence is the word. Cautious reticence. Do you both feel as though you default to erring on the side of silence as a cautionary principle regarding FE because you don't feel particularly deft in its nuances? Or
Yes.
alternately, do you think that you're just more successful than 4th slot would suggest because you do pull off playing it cool and everybody thinks you're cool?
I think the roll FI is a big one too, because like if I use my roll FI, then it's like, okay, he seems like a pretty upstanding fellow, you know. But like for the extrovert feeling, I'm gonna be pretty like matter of fact and like dry with people in a lot of situations I'm not comfortable with, until like some other FE dom like an ENFJ like makes the situations that I feel comfortable like making like ridiculous jokes and just like letting loose with my emotional expression, you know. Otherwise, I'll just stick to, okay, I'm a TI dom, and you guys all freaking know that, you know.
So is this self-awaredly risk avoidance or not for you?
Well, it's not. I mean, looking back on it, I'm saying right now it is risk avoidant. But in the situation, it's more unconsciously risk avoidant. It's like, okay, I will
Gotcha.
open up. I'll open up unconsciously when it seems like I can open up. Otherwise, I don't want to say a joke that might offend someone. So I'm really afraid of people being like, "Oh my God, that's so offensive," and then like hating me or whatever, you know.
Now, Susanna, does that ring equivalent to your experience, or do you draw distinctions?
Oh, it is similar. I'm not that aware of it. However, sometimes I decide that I should stay calm until I feel that it's the right time to act more normal.
As an ISTP with FE 3rd and FI 7th, I don't really hold grudges at all. Now, I've experienced from INTPs, though, that if you piss one off, it's not easy to regain their trust. It's not exactly a loss of trust. It's not easy to regain closeness with an INTP once that you piss them off. Is that true for ISTP as well? That's my experience for INTP. You can dispute it in a second, but do you find that to be true for ISTP? Because I'm not sure about that one.
If you piss me off, well,
You
I
hold
try
grudges.
to see. I try to see the value. I try to see the good in other people, and I usually attribute negative behavior to just bad day or just
Too many
ignorant or
beans.
whatever. To what?
Too many beans.
That is not on my list, but I will add that to the list now as a potential reason.
Usually,
if
when I'm
it's like-
behaving badly, that's the cause. Susanna, how about you?
well, can I
Was
finish
I
one
right in
more?
my description of your shit or not?
Can I finish one more point?
Oh
before you
yeah, of
move on?
course. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I will say that if someone does something extremely disrespectful or something that really does piss me off, the grudge I think is a lot more severe than I would guess an INTP's is, where it's like, okay, I'm going to forgive you if I think you're just in a bad mood or whatever. But if I see you as a person who's going to be doing this, I don't want you in my life at all. Like, unless you come to me and you make up for whatever you've done wrong, if you learn from your mistakes, then I'll let it go. But if you haven't learned from your mistakes, if you still think whatever you did was logically sound, even though I thought it was totally disrespectful, you're done, you know?
So, okay, here's an example then. Let's say somebody calls you poop face. Do you excommunicate them for 2 months for that? 1 month? Or a lifetime ban?
Poop face, if someone causes me that, I
Yeah.
don't know what that actually entails.
Somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, you're a poop face."
Oh,
Now,
calls me poop face.
yeah, you thought he was your friend. You thought he was, but then he pulled that shit on you. Now, do you excommunicate him for a month, 2 months, or lifetime ban?
If you were calling me a poop face, I would assume you were joking and think it was funny. If someone in a business meeting called me a poop face in front of all of my peers in a way to disrespect me, that would be a lifetime ban, most likely.
Okay, so it's like imagine us in like a corporate boardroom, right? Everyone's in suits, and like Steve's up there giving a presentation. Mr. Jenkins, blah 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 blah. Vice President Calmer's over there. Poop face, did you get the?
Did you get the memo?
And then he just keeps going on as though he didn't do anything, right? He just didn't even say, you're like, did he just call me poop face?
That would be, there would be no ban to that. That would be just me in a state of confused disorientation as to what the hell just happened.
Okay, Suzanne,
I would.
what if they call you poop face? How big of a deal is that? In the business meeting, keep in mind. And the guys referred to everybody else by their name, and just really quickly in passing, as he got to you, he just called you poop face and went on. Didn't refer to you again. Do you talk to him after the meeting? Or are you like, why did you call me poop face?
You know, I think the best thing would be to do nothing because he was already making a fool of himself.
No, but it appears that a couple people noticed and smirked. Most of the room didn't notice, but the 2 or 3 people who did notice, they kind of smirked and they kind of like looked at you like, he schooled you. Does that change how you react to it?
Yeah, I would probably think about it, but that would be more
Shocking.
regarding.
Wait a second, Suzanne. Let's recap. Are you telling me that your reaction to that would be to think about it? Well, that's a bold move.
No, but really, it would not be a grudge. It would be more me thinking about insecurities. Like, why did that happen, and why did they react the
Do
way
you
they
think
did?
it's possible that you'd become convinced over time that you actually had a piece of poop on your face at the time and you just didn't notice it? And that's the
No,
only
no.
explanation?
No.
And then you go through a months-long campaign of kind of testing the other people in the office to find out if you did have poop on your face without asking them directly.
No.
No? Okay. So 7th slot. You guys have different 7th slot things. Let's talk about your polars, your places of least resistance. For Basement Overlord, we touched on it already. It's NE. I've seen it in action several times. It's weird to see because it's like watching somebody who doesn't know what their hands are for, and they just keep kind of like going like, "How do you pick this shit up?" Now, for you though, you got SE in the 7th slot. I like to tease INTPs and INFPs about their 7th slot SE because boy are they deliberative. Do you enjoy deliberation, Susanna?
I don't know.
Hey! What do you mean we're going to the store? We just talked about it. We said we needed groceries. Yeah, we need groceries. We're about six days between. There's 6 days of thinking between needing groceries and actually going and getting them. Are you sure we have absolutely everything that we're going to get on the list and everything we're not going to get on a separate list, and things that we might consider getting next time that we should evaluate this time on a third list? Because then we'll be ready to go to the store probably, unless something changes between now and 6 days from now, like a new sale circular comes out or something.
For that example, I would just go to the store, but I would probably return with one of the 2 items I was supposed to buy and 2 bags of other crap.
Right. And you will have somehow parked your car on the back lawn. How the fuck? Why did I park the car back there? Why did I put the cat in the refrigerator?
I like this example of seventh slot where it's like, I'm gonna go to the grocery store, and I'm like, okay. 2 days later, hey, I'm gonna go to the grocery store. I'm like, okay, you do that. 3 days later, okay, I'm gonna go to the grocery store now. It's like I'm going to do this like tomorrow. It's like forever. Finally, they
Is
have
that
to
an
go.
NE seventh thing or SE seventh?
That's SE seventh.
That's
It's like
SE
okay,
seventh. Okay,
I'm
right.
gonna go to the grocery store at some point until I like run out of groceries. But up until that point, I'm gonna say I'm gonna go to the grocery store forever.
Well, and what I will do around here is I will say 50 times, I'm gonna take out that trash soon,
Yeah.
or I need to take out the trash, or I really ought to clean up around here, or when I clean up around here, I'll probably start over there. You know,
Yeah, it's like whenever I do the thing I'm gonna do it. It's like okay, cool.
it's practically done already. After all, I'm making new meaning about it. I'm making shit up about the thing I'm supposed to do. So that must mean it's getting done, right? But it's not actually. Okay, so let's see. This seems like a pretty good length for a video. I do want to touch on TE though before we call it a shoot, as they say in the movie biz. So TE, you guys both have it in the ignoring function in socionics, the fifth slot, and it's equivalent to me to my NI. I found that it's been slow developing, but it's gotten pretty strong for me, my fifth slot function, as I enter my 40s, but only for specific things that I use it on. And it doesn't generalize out at all. Can you explain each of your relationships to TE, how you feel it works for you in the fifth slot?
Yeah. The way I think of it is like TE is like the way things actually work. So it's like this is how an engine actually works, and like TI is like the way I make sense of it. And so like I feel like I'm constantly like trying to jam TE into my TI, and it's just like okay, I can't actually comprehend things just like how they actually work. I need to constantly be like, okay, here's the TI framework for how an engine actually works, and so it's just like a way to just filter into my TI. It's just like fodder almost, and like so sometimes if I don't have a mental model for how things work, like I might either just make one up or just like become sort of exasperated, like annoyed or whatever. It's like okay, like I need to like figure it out first, you know. I can't just use it for how it works. I need to understand the principle behind it.
Um, Susanne, I'm going to talk about my experience with TE first because I think it's going to go better in that order. Uh, so I want to contrast with some of what you said when it's in the sixth slot. For me, it's much less abstract than that. It's like I have this experience where I know I need to make shit happen over here, and then there's like, well, I could do this one action, and it would have a decent amount of impact, and it would lead to some other actions I'm not going to think about right now. But I can tell it's going to lead to some other stuff, kind of
Yeah.
like over there. So what I need to do right now, if I'm going to execute good TE, is not think about it anymore and do that one thing, being comfortable with the fact that I don't really know all the impacts of that one thing, being comfortable with the fact that I don't know if that's the best one thing to choose to do, but also being comfortable with the fact that I've determined enough to know that it's a good choice of a one thing to do, since you're just going to do one thing anyway.
At that point in time.
Yeah, because I can't. I if I start thinking I might do two things, I won't do one thing. If I do one thing only, then there's a good chance I'll do five or six things. I'll do five or six one things only.
Yeah, I have to start with one thing, definitely.
Okay, so
If I think of all the things, it doesn't happen.
right, because then you get stuck in that NETI shit, where you're trying to make it consistent. You know, it's like cleaning a dirty spot on a whole wall that's dirty. Oh fuck! Now I gotta clean the whole wall, right? That's the problem with with TI and NE, is when we start thinking, well, but what about if we include those mechanisms outside of this thing we're focused on and see how they impact it? But what if we include the mechanisms outside of those mechanisms and see how they impact it? Well, what if we frame it in the largest framework? Well, what if we frame it in a personalized framework? Well, what if we frame it in a group framework? And you go, now I want to make sure I've accounted for all the variables so I don't make a bad decision. Meanwhile, the INTP and INFP is completely unaware that they are currently making a decision to do nothing. They don't frame it like that. They like to pretend they're not making a decision by not doing something. But they are making a decision to not do anything.
That's a
And
good
trying to
point.
get that through to them is one of my life goals. All right, so I think that will bring this episode of INTP, ISTP, friend or foe. Wait, that's not the title. What's the
Friend.
difference, or something like that. That should bring this video to an end. Thank you so much to
ISTP
my
friend.
helpful and friendly participants, Susanne and Basement Overlord, for their insight, their wisdom, and their being of the types that we were talking about.